Hello and welcome to Drinks and Dystopia podcast, where we discuss what was it? What was the reason? Where we discuss what if science fiction was science fact while science drunk.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, nice. That's a
We
tagline and a half.
We'll come up with something better, but we'll stick with that for now.
Yeah, I'll do. Drinks Dystopia.
So this is Lee,
Hi.
and I am Tanya, and we are gonna chat to you. This is episode 2.
Yes, it is.
We're here.
We're ready to go. Second one. First one was a resounding success.
Well,
No one's listened to it. No one, literally no one.
well, that
I
one.
haven't even listened to it, and I did it.
I think the first one is considered the pilot, so all mistakes are forgiven in the pilot.
That's right. Yeah, that was our menagerie. We can change.
But this one has to kind of be canon,
Yeah, they're all canon, aren't they?
unless we just do a whole season of pilots.
Every podcast will be a different subject, a completely different type of podcast. Just do a whole season of pilots. That's
Second
not a
pilot.
bad idea.
Okay, so what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Southern Comfort with Pepsi Max Vanilla.
This is what you were drinking last time.
Was it really?
Yes.
Oh dear.
And as I said last time, gross.
That's not a drink I want to be associated with at all. But never mind.
What I love is people now think that that's your favorite drink, when in fact that's just laziness of us we keep forgetting to buy drinks.
Yeah, it's the second time in my life I've ever drunk it. It just so happens to be the two podcasts.
But you have been drinking other things tonight.
Sorry, mouthful of Southern Comfort. Yes, I've been drinking. I had a couple of pints at lunch. One of them was 8.5%, so that was pretty strong. And then I went to a whiskey tasting this evening as well.
Very fancy.
Yeah, and I finished that off with another pint of beer. So,
Well, I have drunk nothing because it is Tuesday.
I know, yeah. Because you're a normal person. It's a weekday.
But you can hear I'm going to keep stirring this. It's going to be very annoying. I'm drinking salted caramel Kahlua and milk.
That's very nice. That's a very fancy drink.
Although it's been in our fridge for a long time.
Yeah. Alcohol doesn't spoil it, does it?
I meant the milk.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, right.
Oh, it's so good.
Is that good?
It's so good.
Can we swap? Mine's terrible.
No, I'm not drinking your filth drink. That's the dystopian cocktail now.
Oh, it does taste like dystopia.
Last week, I asked you 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
But over 50% of the podcast was you answering those questions.
Really?
Yes.
Oh dear, that's not right at all.
So oh wait, do you want to backtrack on any of those? You're gonna go
literally all of it. Whatever I said, I can't remember what it was, but it was
your
all
favourite villain.
Nonsense.
And The Bachelor was one of the great shows of
More
all time.
nonsense. So don't believe a word I say. If you're going to take anything from this podcast, that is it.
Well, I'm only going to ask us one question each week, so that
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this week's question is: what is your least favourite sci-fi realm?
My least favourite sci-fi realm.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I suppose it's the one you would want to live in the least.
Oh, okay. The one I'd want to live in the least.
I'm going to have to go with George Orwell's 1984.
Oh, are you going to call that sci-fi?
When it was written, it was sci-fi.
I suppose it was. It was futuristic,
Dystopian
wasn't it?
future.
Yeah, I suppose in that sense it is. Yeah, I mean, 1984 is a bad one, I'll be fair. That's not one you want to live in. Probably The Matrix. That's a pretty bad one.
Well, depends which side. That's quite a controversial one. Depends which side you are.
Well, isn't The Matrix like 1997? Eternally 1997 or something like that, and then if you do get out of the Matrix, yeah, you're living like garbage people under attack by robots constantly.
So wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
I know.
The Matrix
Yeah.
is what, the same day over and over again?
I don't know. I never quite understood. But remember, they said I'm sure I'm butchering this story now because it's been probably 10 years, if not 20 years. Yeah, like remember they said like it was far, far in the future, and they did the Matrix, and people rejected it. So they found a time in human history when they were most malleable or something, and it was 1997 or whatever year the Matrix came out.
That sucks.
Yeah, they're like, the new Matrix is based on this time period, because the Matrix is actually like hundreds of years in the future, isn't it?
So it's probably like 1 year, just over and over again.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how it works.
Reliving the 1 year?
Yeah, I don't understand how they never explained it. That's the beauty of the Wachowskis. They give you an idea and then never actually explain it. Because obviously it makes no sense. Like the Matrix, none of the Matrix really makes sense, but we were all sort of dragged into it by bullet time. Really.
Blow my mind a bit here.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I'd say I gotta watch it again. Oh, it's one of those films, bless it. The Matrix is great, but it's one of those films that we were talking about recently. We were discussing how can a film be so good that it's bad, and The Matrix goes into that because it was so good, everyone watched it, and then no one would shut up about it. So now I hate it, but it's great. It's a great film.
At the time, it was brilliant, but yeah, it's been parodied so much, and then they did the sequels, which just laid bare everything that was wrong. Yeah, it made you realise just how many massive plot holes there were and how little of it made any sense.
Well,
but it did have Keanu Reeves in it, and he is literally the worst actor of all time.
That's not true.
Well, there is one other actor.
We're not getting into that today.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
Lee has a hatred of an actor, and we are not discussing
I want us to do a whole podcast just on this, but Tanya's vetoed it, so...
Yeah, I think I win that one. I would much rather be in the normal world in a way than 1984.
What do you mean you win it? Like, surely my one is worse.
Your one's better.
Really?
Yeah, because you're in a way. You could be in the Matrix right now, you wouldn't know.
Oh, you're getting all philosophical on me, aren't you? Brain in the jar thingy. Okay. Yeah.
So, last week, our question that I posed to you was, in a world... I suppose we should do that, should we?
In a world.
In a world where a third of the nation is telepathic. Doesn't quite have a...
Yeah, it's very specific, isn't it? A third. Not half. You know, a third. In a world where 7/17 have cheese for eyes.
No, okay, so that was last week's, and this week we're going to go a bit different. In this world, the temperatures reach no higher than 9 degrees Celsius.
So specific again. Why 9? Why not 10?
Because 10
Why 9?
10 is a spring day. 9 is take a coat.
Okay.
So that's the highest it will ever reach.
9.
9 degrees.
Okay.
And I'm sorry.
I have no idea what 9 degrees feels like. I've got no frame of reference here. It's like, because you're saying you're saying 10 is a nice spring day, am I right in saying that? But 9 is a nice spring day, but you probably need a coat. Now, I'm laying here in my pants because I'm boiling. You probably wish you were wearing a jumper. So I have no frame of reference for how cold.
I wish he is actually in his pants. He has no respect for you listeners.
None whatsoever. You should have none for me.
He's flashing your ears.
Yeah. But like, what is 9 degrees?
Okay. Well, as well, there's a big note on this notepad that says check for Fahrenheit.
Because that would help. If I only I knew the Fahrenheit. Tanya, I need to know the Fahrenheit.
What if our one listener is American? They're gonna be like, screw these guys. They don't care about my temperature needs.
Oh.
Is it a metric thing? No.
It's, oh.
Well, okay. So what is a bearable but cold temperature for you?
Well, why don't we just say a world that is cold?
Because
it's always cold.
How
An ice
cold?
planet, 0 degrees.
Okay.
A planet that is 0 degrees.
That makes more sense.
At all times.
So 0 degrees.
So it's snowy. It's basically the Arctic. It's an ice planet.
The reason I went with 9 degrees is because of what I was going to say is that it still has seasons. So the winter is like minus 35 or whatever, but then you've got...
Right. So
you do get fluctuating variations because the world would be very different.
Right.
For a constant temperature than a seasoned winter temperature.
Okay.
So we have our seasons, but like if you had that scale, just shift it all down to really, really cold.
Okay.
The reason we're bringing this up is because Lee is always hot and I am always cold.
Yeah.
So I'm interested because Lee's I think you'd always pick a cold place rather than a hot
place.
place.
Instantly I love this planet that you've just described. It sounds brilliant.
Because I always remember we have a Canadian friend and she was telling us how it was so cold in Canada when she was there that if you were outside for more than 20 minutes your eyeballs would freeze.
Yes, I remember that story.
And I think that was about minus 35. So this is the world you're currently living in, okay? Mm-hmm. So first question is science. I suppose for science, is this our world where things have changed or is this going to be a whole new planet?
I don't know. This is your world. I don't know. You have to tell me. Okay,
it's a whole new world. We're going to start afresh. This is a new planet.
A whole new world. Yeah.
He was pretty.
Go on.
So, yeah, we're going to start afresh. This is a different solar system, so it's not our solar system. But we're going to assume that everybody has human characteristics.
Right.
It's a different dimension. Okay, it's a different dimension where our Earth is like
we need to think these things
inches
through.
away from the sun.
We need to really think these things through, don't we, before we podcast?
Don't they say that, like, if you just shifted the Earth even slightly, it would freeze? Like, everything would be...
Well, sort of. We're in the Goldilocks zone, as they say at the moment, which is like
just
the perfect...
right.
It's just right, yeah.
Okay, so that's what it is. It's our Earth in a different dimension, and it's just slightly shifted over.
It's a different dimension.
No.
So we're just going to push... We're going to push the Earth's rotation.
Multiverse.
Okay. Where the Earth's orbit has been pushed out a little bit, so it's colder.
Yeah, but they're humans. They're humans.
They're still humans.
So all of the rules of our Earth apply, apart from the fact that it's cold.
Right. So what effect would that have on science?
Yes.
All I can think of is that lots of skiwear. That's all I'm thinking.
Science.
Our whole civilization would be directed towards making very fashionable skiwear.
Wouldn't skiing, though, just be like walking?
Yeah, it would just be how you got around. So it would be essential. It would be the most fundamental aspect of this whole society would be skiing. We'd be like the Austrians or something.
What about snowboarding?
Oh, gross. Yeah, snowboarding would also be important. We're just describing the Winter Olympics. That's all we're doing at the minute.
Right, okay, well, let me go with the next question then.
Go on.
Population. How would this Earth's population change if these were the conditions that the planet was under?
Do you mean, like how many more people or fewer people? Or
Yeah.
Fewer?
It's going to have to be, isn't it?
Yeah, because
the elderly are gone.
They're gone. We've pushed them off on icebergs out into the sea. That's what you do, don't you? When you
They're barely gone. They barely last the British winter.
I know,
like,
yeah.
That is 9
They
degrees.
drop like flies as soon as winter hits the UK. There's just old people falling over in the streets everywhere.
Well, maybe that's unfair. Maybe the first generation of whatever this planet, if it was a change, the first few generations of old people would go. But maybe it'd be a bit like Vikings, where the older ones, sturdier, and are better at handling the winter.
A bit like Vikings? Where you get that from? Viking elderly were infamously sturdier, were they?
I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah, okay, like it.
If I was going to draw a Viking, I'd draw old and squat and
I think they died at the age of about 32.
It's a good innings.
That was elderly in those days.
So yeah, I think you are right. I think the life expectancy would be less.
Yes, I think you could assume that, because conditions would be. It's a lot more difficult to survive in the cold than it is to survive in the warm, in tropical climates, which is why I imagine this is just a complete stab in the dark, but I imagine that's why civilization centered around the Mediterranean and North Africa for the majority of human history, is because it's warmer. It's a more conducive climate to human habitation, whereas up in Antarctica and Canada and Scandinavia.
Where did Skywalker live?
I rest my case. Skywalker was on what's the planet?
It's blank.
What's the moon?
I want to say Eldaron, but that's wrong. That's
every nerd listening to this is furious.
I'm furious. I know they film it in Tunisia in real life, but I remembered it's Tatooine.
I don't think it is Tatooine.
I don't know. We paused it because I had to check the recording.
Isn't Tatooine where the little fella's from? Anakin. Isn't he Tatooine?
Isn't that the same planet? That is the same planet.
No, Luke Skywalker and Anakin aren't from the same planet.
Well, how is C-3PO there?
Oh, see, now we're getting bogged down in the storyline of Star Wars.
I think it is.
No, it's not.
It's the sandy racing car planet.
Yeah, no.
I love Star Wars. I know it doesn't sound like I do right now, but it's been a long day.
Yeah. I'm not as acquainted with Star Wars lore as I probably should be.
Anyway, okay. So how would cities differ on this planet?
They'd all be igloos. The whole city.
I'm going to go underground. Everyone's going to be underground.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Do you have little igloos on top?
Yeah, like igloo skyscrapers. Oh, like those ice palaces and ice hotels you have up in like Iceland.
Superman.
Oh yeah, Superman. Do you mean a Fortress of Solitude?
Fortress of Solitude. That's what everyone would live in.
I was talking about like the actual ice hotels that they have, and like the James Bond movie, not Superman's Fortress of Solitude.
See, our problem is I'm using references that don't exist, whereas you're using actual logical reason. I feel this is our problem.
Is that what's going wrong?
Yeah, you're actually doing it right, and I'm talking nonsense.
Your references are more nerdy, so people appreciate that.
There should be a drinking game for this podcast where every time we make a random reference, you have to drink.
Yeah.
People would be wasted.
Yeah, and I'm being pretty good today. I'm trying to keep my references to a minimum.
I know, I will calm down. Okay, so yeah, do you think that cities would be underground? I think.
Yeah, cities would be underground. You know, slush puppies would be really popular, like massively popular.
I don't think they would. I think people would hate them. I think a hot chocolate would be really popular.
Oh, again, there's some logic there, yeah.
But how you wouldn't have chocolate? You're not gonna have chocolate. You can't grow anything.
Oh God, you're right.
Oh, what are we eating?
Oh, each other? Would we be cannibals? Would it give rise to a cannibal race of snow-based barbarians?
Well, I suppose whenever you see documentaries about the Inuits and things, they eat...
Dangerous road.
I know. That's why I paused. Okay, whenever you think
you're gonna start accusing.
No. What I'm thinking
Inuits
of is the Carl
cannibals.
Wilkinson documentary where he goes to Alaska. Does he go to Alaska? The northern point of Alaska.
Yeah.
And they're eating whale and fish. That's like their main foods, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're eating
fermented foods.
Yeah, they eat fermented fish and they eat like whale blubber.
I suppose if we're underground.
Yeah.
We're not assuming that. We're assuming everybody's not invented anything, but I suppose you can invent heat lamps and stuff that we've got. What do you call that when you grow things indoors? It's like hypo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Sorry, I'm
a few whiskeys in.
Yeah, I'm very drunk, so I can't think of the words. But I know what you mean.
We could grow things.
Yeah, but would we? Would we have invented these things? Because again, is invention. Do you invent things because you're forced to by your environment? I don't know where I'm going with that.
But this is why it was so important of whether it was our world now in the future or a different planet, because that changes everything. Like every single element is changed depending on the history of the earth.
Yeah.
Because I think if we did have plants, then we'd find ways to have plants. If we didn't, then we'd have had to have found a way to survive. I don't know. I suppose seaweed, things in the sea that don't...
This might be too fundamental a change to what, because if the earth has always been like this, so much that we take for granted wouldn't exist. Like you say, plants wouldn't exist, as they exist now. We wouldn't be able to do farming or agriculture, which is essentially what
built up the economy.
The whole foundation of human civilization is built on agriculture. There would be no agriculture or very little.
I suppose we'd have to just look at countries that are in similar situations and then look at how they've grown.
Yeah, so we'd have to look at the Inuits and stuff like that.
Iceland and...
Yeah, and they sort of...
Santa Claus. He's doing great.
I know, yeah.
He's got a thriving business.
Yeah, he makes enough in his little factory for the whole world.
I'm sorry, Father Christmas. Lee gets upset when we
don't
say...
call him, he's not Santa Claus, he's Father Christmas.
In Britain, he was called Father Christmas our whole childhoods, and then America started making films where he was called Santa Claus. I think he's always been called Santa Claus. But
I even remember as a kid,
Santa Claus movie.
When movies would come on called Santa Claus, I genuinely didn't know who that was. I remember saying to my mum once, "Who's Santa Claus?" My mum was like, "Oh, that's what Americans call Father Christmas." And I was like, "Oh." So I saw these American movies with Santa Claus. I was like, who is this Santa Claus fella? He looks a lot like Father Christmas.
There's two of them. That's how he does it in one night.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I thought that's what he obviously gives presents to American kids, and Father Christmas gives it, to the rest of us. That's what I thought. That's how I thought it worked. And then you'd say to people, "What does Santa Claus mean?" Because Father Christmas is obvious, and then no one would be like, "We don't know. We don't know what Santa Claus means. It's nonsense." So that's why I'd be like, why would I going to call somebody something I don't even know what the words mean? Santa Claus? That sounds like a monster.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, Sinterklaas. It's the German one. He's like...
It does sound cool.
Yeah, but I maintain he's Father Christmas. He's not Santa Claus.
No, he's transitioned in my brain. But he's doing it. He's doing well.
Yeah, he's doing really well for himself, isn't he?
With the Vendigums.
Yeah, we'd all become Vendigums, which is going to be a good thing, isn't it?
It's hard though, because every time I try to think of things, I think, you need woods, you need trees. You dig holes underground. You need metal.
Yeah, you need digging implements. Where are you going to get these digging implements from? Yeah, like, it's a bad idea, I reckon.
But it's the 9 degrees. You'd go to the 9 degrees areas and you'd live there.
Yeah,
you'd be
everyone
like,
live in the 9 degrees, which is basically like the UK.
This is the island in the
Yeah, you're like, this is a tropical paradise. It's 9 degrees. Not 10 though, God forbid. God forbid it reaches 10 degrees.
So, okay, how would art differ? Let's just ignore the fact that we can't really work out how they would actually live over.
We are terrible at this. This is not informative or interesting at all, but, okay, so how would art differ? It would be lots of, you'd make lots of sort of Jackson Pollock things.
Snow art would be huge.
Yeah.
Ice sculptures would be huge.
Ice sculptures would be good, but then I also think people would make things out of like the offal of like whale blubber.
Oh, whalebone.
Yeah, whalebone and stuff, and they would make
I suppose whale blubber is fire though, so we've got fire.
Yeah. Oh, and they used to make before they discovered petrol, they were using whale oils, weren't they?
So we can drive around in ice cars.
Yeah, cars made of ice.
Like ice Flintstones.
Yeah.
You just run on the spot in your ice car.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what we would do. So that'd be good.
Oh, we still have mammoths.
Yeah, mammoths are there, so we
tigers.
can eat them and wear them.
We'd have like at least 2/5 of the Power Rangers with us.
Yeah, brilliant.
They had a mammoth, right?
They did have a mammoth. What else did they have?
Saber-tooth tiger. Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah.
Pink lady.
Yeah,
pterodactyl.
Yeah, she was a pterodactyl, wasn't she?
Wasn't one of them a triceratops?
A triceratops.
Doesn't exist anymore.
The blue one was a triceratops.
Do you know that?
What? Oh yeah, are they claiming now that triceratops was just a baby version of a dinosaur? It's not actually its own.
We were so old that when we were born there was a different dinosaur on a different planet that existed that don't exist anymore.
Hang on. A different dinosaur and a different planet.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying there was a different dinosaur on a different planet. I was like, what? Yeah. Yeah, we had Pluto and Triceratops. 2 things which...
Oh, that's sad.
Kids today.
That might be the drawing from this week. A little sad Triceratops
sad
on Pluto.
On Pluto.
Just both of them crying together.
Yeah. Feeling each other's pain. We don't exist anymore.
Ironically, in a very cold climate.
Yeah. How apt. It's almost as if we designed it that way.
Somebody told me.
Oh God.
Somebody told me once that in ancient Iceland, and again, this is just all pure hearsay. This is fake news.
Yeah, this is going to be the fakest.
But someone told me that to honour someone when they died, so like their second in command or somebody that was very close to them, another man, when a warrior died, they would wear their legs, their skin. Don't laugh, I'm telling the truth. When they died, they would skin them and they'd wear their legs like clothes to honour them.
Wear their legs.
I swear someone told me that. And at the time I was like, that's nonsense. But they were like, no. And then I'm
not convinced you did it.
Maybe that's where sporran comes from. Because they probably keep their junk on there.
Oh, the Tanya theories. I love the Tanya theories. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a treat. Tanya has lots of theories, and this is a good one. So you think that Icelanders used to wear people's legs to honour them?
When they were dead.
And this is where sporrans come from.
No, the sporran bit I'm adding. But
you're adding that bit, okay.
Okay, well, can we say that if next week, in Backtrack Corner, you have to backtrack and say that you've discovered this is true, you'll do a shot of soju.
Yeah. If we find out that the people of Iceland wear each other's legs...
When they're dead.
Oh, that's okay then.
Not now.
They wear their dead legs. Brilliant. Okay.
Not now either. Long time ago.
Okay. In a galaxy far, far away, they wear their legs.
You're gonna do a shot.
What, as a hat or like how do they
as trousers, of course.
Of course, as trousers.
Maybe as chaps.
Yeah.
You have to cut them off.
I'm gonna turn my hero into assless chaps.
They'd be like leather, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. You're right.
It's cold. They would have find
Wear your friends. You're right. It's cold out there. Just skin your mate and wear it. Turn him into trousers. Turn him into a fashionable pair of chinos. I agree.
Do you think civilization could ever reach the technological standards of today if it was that cold all the time?
I don't think so.
Because people wouldn't want to?
Yeah.
Just because it's so goddamn cold?
Yeah, people would just be more concerned with just making it from day to day. Yeah. That you just went, and you could say something like the rise of philosophy, and which is the bedrock of science. that all started essentially in ancient Greece.
Warm.
And was that due to the weather? Because Greece is a very, very nice place,
I'm cold, therefore I am.
Exactly, yeah. or I'm cold, therefore I'm not. So let's just go back to bed.
Because we've noticed, and this is based on just our travels, but we've noticed that when we've come to Australia, compared to the UK, everyone is a lot more happier.
A lot more, yeah.
Happier is the wrong word, because I would say that...
A more positive disposition and a lot more active.
Positive, more confident.
Yeah, they're confident.
More confident. Because
more dynamic.
Yeah. But we also noticed when we went to New Zealanders have almost the exact same sense of humour as the British. And I think it's because we're so cold and it's so grey that all we can do is laugh about it.
Yeah, the weather in New Zealand is very similar to the UK, or at least when we were there.
So maybe it would be really funny.
Yeah.
Maybe comedy would be the biggest thing in a cold
But then
world.
Scandinavians are not famous for their comedy. And
I don't know.
I've never
we know
seen
a Finnish lady and she's one of the funniest people around.
Yeah, unintentionally.
But it's dry.
Though.
It's like a dry.
Yeah, it's just she's just being honest with us,
and we find that funny.
Hilarious. Because being Brits, we never honest with each other. We always just say what we think the people want to hear.
That's
Whereas
true.
she's Finnish, so she just says what she thinks.
That's
and
true.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. My Norwegian friend, the funniest thing she ever said to me, she came up to me when we were friends and said, "The first time I met you, I hated you," and that was the funniest thing ever. But thinking about it, she was just telling me the truth. That wasn't a joke.
No, she was just like, this is a fact. And I'm from Norway, so you need to know this fact.
So everyone would be really straight talking and really honest.
Yeah.
I like this place.
Yeah.
I might go there.
But...
do you think everyone would have dogs?
Huskies.
Yeah, dogs, chow-chows and...
Yeah, and wolves.
Maybe dogs would get really big.
Wolves. We're just describing the North from Game of Thrones. Now I'm thinking about it, aren't we?
Yeah, direwolves. Maybe they'd be real because the biggest ones, Darwinism, like the biggest ones would be have the best survival rate. So animals would get bigger. So you'd get really big dogs.
Yeah, big furry dogs.
And we'd need big strong ones to run, because obviously we're gonna make them drive everything because we're horrible. But
that's how we work.
So maybe dogs would get really big and cuddly, like the Tibetan mastiffs, those massive dogs.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Massive dogs in comedy? Oh, let's go.
These are such baseless assumptions I'm making, but I like it, yeah.
Do you think as well they'd have a lot of festivals?
A lot of festivals.
Well, because how people always say about SAD disorder, like seasonal affective disorder, and how Christmas is kind of in the winter or the British winter, because it cheers people up, basically.
Yeah, that's basically it, yeah.
So we would have, like, endless festivals in this world.
Mm.
Every week would be, like, Blurns Day. Merry Christmas. Turn your upside down day. Like, it would be great.
These sound like the worst holidays ever. Everyone's going to be suicidal if they have to celebrate this shit.
No, they won't. It'd be great.
Really?
Kiss your dog day.
Okay, that's...
Well, no, that sounds wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a different world.
Yeah, no, we can't judge. We can't judge.
You can't judge this world. We have no business.
Yeah, you've got to walk, a day in the
skis.
Yeah, in the skis of a bestiality man.
Do you think any sport that we have now that's not winter based? If you say ice skating, I'll throw a pillow at you.
Yeah.
So do you think like any summer based sport would transition?
I think strength sports would still be big.
Because they're huge in Iceland. It's
the
world's strongest man.
Scandinavians are just like the strongest people on the planet.
The mountain from Game of Thrones is the world's strongest man in the moment, isn't he?
He came second.
Is his name Thor?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Do you think his parents knew?
It's kind of... Well, I think it's his nickname. I don't think it's his real name. But I could be wrong, but like he's known as... But our boy is the strongest guy in the world.
Our boy?
Yeah.
Someone we know?
Eddie Hall from Great Britain is the world's strongest man.
Oh, just a British man?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So he's our boy.
Our boy.
Yeah.
He turned to Australian. Old mate.
Yeah, old mate.
Everyone's old mate in Australia, which apparently just means you definitely must understand the person I'm referencing.
Yeah.
How would I know when you're just calling him old mate?
I've only ever heard Rachel call Luke old mate.
They don't know who they are.
Oh.
You've only ever heard my colleagues.
Yeah. I've only ever heard one of your colleagues call the other colleague old mate. which
They
is
do
weird.
it all the time. They'll be like, oh, you know, old mate, and they'll be like, oh yeah, old mate. Never an old man either. Like it's not.
No. Yeah.
Maybe they'd be very. Maybe in a cold place you don't want to speak very much, so you don't faff around with telling the truth. Like, sorry, you don't faff around with like.
With lies.
Lies, because it's too cold to speak.
Yeah, you need to cherish all those every breath. You could be right. Maybe that's why Scandinavians are so straightforward. They ain't got time for all this pussyfooting around.
But all our Canadian friends are the chattiest people in the world, so that kind of disproves that theory.
Yeah. Our theories are harebrained, aren't they?
But they do live indoors a lot.
That is also true. And they live underground.
That's what I meant.
all live underground.
Everyone lives outdoors, really. No one's house is an indoor house. You don't build your house inside something.
Or do you mean the other way around? Everyone's house is indoors. No one lives outdoors. Is that what you mean?
I don't know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean either.
Yeah, they build everything underground.
Yes. The Canadians do all that, don't they?
So in a way, we've been proven right.
Yeah. We've shown by just saying what they do in Canada that our theory on what they would do in a Canada-like country is true.
What about onsens, like in Japan, like the hot water pools? Maybe we'd have loads of them.
Yeah.
Any natural springs, like those little monkeys we saw that sit in the.
Yeah.
Those awesome little monkeys.
What type of monkeys are they?
Macaques.
That's right. Yeah, they'd be really popular. Again, we're just describing things people do in cold countries.
Do you think everyone would have beards, even women?
Are bears dogs?
But like the reason women have evolved to not have hair is because it's not seen as attractive. But like in this world, they'd be warm, so that'd be a good thing, right? So maybe women
not for us, it wouldn't be.
But you're saying that because you're brain right now. But in this world, maybe you'd want your children to be warm, so you'd want a hairy woman.
No, I don't want a hairy
You
woman.
like hairy dogs? Do you think they're cute?
Yeah, I don't want to have sex with them though. Every day, do I?
I don't know.
Not after last time.
Okay, is there anything else you can think about this that you'd like
I think we've nailed this one again. I don't think there's anything left to say. I think
if anyone is still listening to this, they deserve a medal.
Yes, they do. Thank you very much indeed for tolerating us for this long, because we are intolerable. I mean, we haven't come up with anything interesting or new.
Women beards.
Yeah, like women with beards. A bearded lady is the best thing. I mean, P.T. Barnum did that 150 years ago.
And giant dogs.
And giant dogs, which Game of Thrones did recently. So we've stolen two old ideas.
No. My idea came, and then I remembered the Game of Thrones had confirmed that that's what would happen.
Right, okay.
It wasn't the other way around.
Yeah. I get you. I came up with the igloo as well. It's the house made of ice.
Well, what else? What other sci-fi is on it? There's you could get in a tauntaun.
You could get inside a tauntaun, or
dogs would grow big, so we could hide inside
their bodies,
them if we needed to.
And then there would also be shape-shifting monsters that pretended to be humans. We'd have to burn their blood to see if they were evil.
Is this the Thing?
I don't know what you're on about.
Is that what that is? Is that a reference to the film The Thing?
I'm just coming up with an idea, an original idea about cold weather. What would happen?
Okay, so what's your favourite film based on a cold planet?
Again, so specific, isn't it? What's my favourite film based on a cold planet? God, what would it be?
Frozen. That's your favourite.
Oh, that's interesting.
That film is only interesting because the snowman can come to life. If you don't have magic, that world is hell.
I don't know. Why? Why is it hell?
It's just cold.
But she makes it cold.
Yeah, but that's why it's called the magic. She built an ice castle magically. People would be out there carving that ice castle if there was no magic. Going, why do you hate us, Queen?
No, because if there was no magic, the cold wouldn't be there to begin with. She creates the frost and the cold with her ice powers.
I know, but for our question to work, the ice has to be there. So it has to
but then it's not
ice planet.
But then it's not Frozen, is it? Because the whole conceit of Frozen is that it's a woman with ice powers. If you take that out of Frozen, it's not a world anymore.
Ooh. Cut,
yeah.
So, okay, fine. How about Narnia? Does that count?
I don't know anything about Narnia.
She's the magic ice queen too.
Yeah.
Is there any of these films? I suppose Star Wars, they go to the ice planet.
Yeah, they got ice planets.
I love that. This is kind of, we are in Star Wars territory because As in Star Wars, one planet is one thing and one thing alone.
Yes.
I want to go to the beach. I've got to go to the beach planet.
It's true, yeah.
I want to go to the sand. Oh, sand planet.
Yeah, that's just the way it works.
I want to go to the Ewok planet.
yeah, the Ewok planet. If you want to go, if you need the toilet, you got to go to the toilet planet.
Toilet planet. Just toilets, as far as the eye can see. Otherwise known as wherever Anakin is.
Yeah.
He's such a toilet human.
He is a toilet human.
What's his Darth Vader?
Is he a human?
Oh, let's not get midichlorians.
They can't be humans, can they? Because they're in a galaxy far, far away, so they can't be humans, wherever they are. Whatever Luke is, and whatever Anakin is, it's not human.
Well, this is going into that thing you always say about how, isn't it weird that all animals have 2 eyes and a mouth and a nose? Like, we all actually look quite similar.
Yeah, we're all essentially look the same. We're just slight variations. Why don't we have one big giant eye and like a mouth on your back and stuff like that? But we've all evolved very similarly from a shared ancestor, I suppose. So we all have a head and a face. Yeah.
Would they be religious on this planet?
Yes.
You'd have to be, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because you need festivals.
You need something to get
cold.
you through it. Yeah.
Please stop making it cold. That's all every day.
Yeah, just be begging to make the snow go away.
Winter is here and we'll never leave.
Yeah. Winter is here. That's it. It's their whole saying for the whole people.
I think you're right. I think they'd eat the dead. You said that about an hour ago. But
yeah, I'm glad that's the bit you clung on to. Yeah,
I think they'd eat the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good source of protein.
And what you can't even bury them. Like, it's not like they decompose and disappear, because they're in frost, so they're in the permafrost or whatever. They would be they'd be preserved. So either they would mummify their people and preserve them in the cold, or they'd be like, well, we have to eat them because it'll attract bears. You know?
Do you think it would be like the Snowpiercer? You know, when they get punished by putting their arm out in the train in the ice. Think that like people could get punished by being made to work in the snow.
Or dunked in the cold water or something.
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah, that's like an extreme, I suppose. But probably just like, if you commit a crime, then you're the workers. Because no one would want to go outside.
No one wants to go out in the cold. Yeah.
Oh, and do you think the sign of being rich would be how many fingers you have?
Yeah.
If you have all your fingers and toes, you're like the 1%.
You're obviously very wealthy.
The elite.
Yeah.
Oh, what would currency be? It would be fuel.
Whale blubber.
Yeah.
My answer to everything seems to be whale
blubber.
That seems to be constant, doesn't it?
I don't think people would read. I think rich people would read because you'd need light to read because you'd be underground.
Yeah.
So light would be rare.
Light would be rare.
Everyone would have a vitamin D deficiency.
Light would be rare.
Light would be rare.
I don't even know what that means. You mean they wouldn't see the sun a lot?
Yeah.
But they still, couldn't you have like just read by candlelight?
But fuel would be the currency, so it'd be expensive.
But candle is just a wax and a wick.
Where's wax come from?
Your ears.
You're burning your earwax to read a book. You're poor if you're burning your earwax. You're the lower end of society.
Yeah, that's true. Because light is rare.
Yeah. Why is that? I don't understand. That's strange. You'll be like a mole people. Maybe we'll be blinder.
Yeah.
Does anyone really rub their nose together? Is that true? To kiss?
An Eskimo kiss, is it a real thing?
Yeah. Is that? I feel like that's a Disney myth. That's probably.
Yeah. Well, the Maori do it though, don't they?
Yeah, that's true. When they meet as well, it's not a kiss. It's just a hello, isn't it?
Yeah, they sort of, put their faces together, don't they?
So you're not shaking hands.
No. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to shake hands because you wouldn't want to. But your extremities.
Maybe everyone would be cuddlers.
Everyone would cuddle.
Everyone would cuddle all the time.
Oh.
Families would live in one room together and they'd all cuddle. Oh, God, that'd stink.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Imagine when everyone was teenagers. It would be the worst.
Oh, God. Yeah. That wouldn't be pleasant for anyone, would it?
Okay, so, would you...
Mm-hmm.
Well, is this a Utopia, Dystopia, or Midopia? And yes, I am sticking with Midopia from last week.
Yeah.
I will always stick with Midopia.
It's definitely a dystopia, isn't it? It just sounds... I mean, I like the fact that it's not hot, but other than that one fact, everything else is hellish.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's one of those places you see it as one way, and then if you were part of it, you would actually like enjoy it a lot to the point where you wouldn't want to leave it.
Why?
Because I think the culture would be so close-knit, everyone would have to look out for each other because, there are dangers. There's limitations on certain things that would make you closer. And you would have a lot of festivals and stuff, so society... you'd have a really good community, I think.
Right, okay.
I think people would be quite happy.
I think you're bonkers.
I'd say a Midopia, I'm not going for...
A Midopia? Oh, it's freezing cold though. You're living in an ice house.
You're not living in an ice house. You're living underground.
In my head, we're living in ice houses. Okay, you live. All right. I love the fact you were like, don't worry, we're not living in ice houses. We're living underground, like mole people. And I'm supposed to be like, oh, that's brilliant, thanks. I don't know. I don't like the sound of this place.
Do you think people having no noses would be common as well?
Having no noses?
They wouldn't have nose because it would.
Because it freeze
frostbite,
off.
Yeah. Maybe warriors would just cut the nose off to spite their
face. Oh dearie me.
Okay, right. So we've established nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, we worked hard and I'm proud of us.
Yeah.
So, last question.
Okay.
Would you prefer this week? If you had to live in a world, would you rather live in this week's world or last week's world?
What was last week's world?
Last week was the telepathic world.
Oh yeah, a third of the population.
So it's not guaranteed that you would have telepathy, but you
Oh God, that's tricky, you see, because you know, if I definitely had telepathy, I'd want to be in the telepathic world. But if I definitely wouldn't have telepathy, that's one of the worst worlds you could be in, because a third of the planet have got a massive advantage over you. But then if you live in the snow world, at least everyone's equal. But you live in a goddamn snow world, so.
And you're quite tall. You could probably take down some small bears.
Yeah. Not at all. But, you know.
But you'd be trained from young to be a strong man, so you'd be like, oh.
That's true. Like you mean like I am now?
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Glad it went that way. But yeah, I think if I had to choose the snow world, no.
You just said it was a dystopia.
Dystopia, yeah.
And last week you said the other world was. Yeah, you didn't say that was a This is interesting. This is.
Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It makes no sense. You're speaking nonsense.
It's as if there's no consistency to my thoughts or ideas. All right then, I'll be in the telepathy world.
Are you just sticking with your guns, even though you do not want to be there?
Yeah.
You're going to be a slave to the better people
I know,
that can read your mind.
No, I'm fairly confident, due to my inflated sense of self, that I'm going to be a telepath.
Well, you're wrong.
Oh.
I own this world. I did create it last week, and you don't have it.
Oh, that backfired. Oh, in that case, Snow World.
Snow World after all?
Yeah. It's a snow world after all.
Nice. I think I'm going with this week's, because, yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah.
Because I would definitely bow straight down to the telepaths, as I mentioned last week. So.
Yeah. You would you'd give up straight away. You'd be like Zach Brannigan when he gives up to Morbo, Futurama. That'd be you.
No, I'm going to the telepathic world.
Yeah?
Yeah. Telepathic or not, I'm going there. I hate the cold. All of the fun things we've said, I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be cold.
No, you hate the cold more than anyone I've ever met.
I lived in Manchester and I couldn't handle it. That's probably...
You live in Brisbane and you can't handle it.
Okay, well, if you would like to message us and tell us how we are horribly wrong, you can find us on Twitter.
Please leave us alone. Don't do that, because that'll take a while. There is a lot of problems with pretty much everything we've said.
Well, you can find us on Twitter. We're on Drinks and Dystopia podcast. I actually made a Twitter.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you been tweeting from it?
No.
Oh.
I've got one on there that just says yeah or something. Some nonsense.
So what you're saying is we're headed for the big time, is what you're saying.
We have
only
0
a matter
followers.
Of time.
Even I'm not following it with my other account.
I didn't even know it existed. Yeah.
But I will say the name here because I can't remember what it actually is. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram at doodlezilla_. We discussed this. The one on the floor is the underscore.
Yeah, that's right.
It rhymes, so it must be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, at doodlezilla_.
That's Doodlezilla.
Doodle, as in sketch.
Yeah. Doodlezilla_. What?
That's it.
Just that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, someone took Doodlezilla, so I was like, I can better that.
I'll just use the
floor line
afterwards. Yeah, good.
And where in the world can we find you?
You can't. I hate social media and anything of that nature, so yeah, you won't find me anywhere. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yep. There we go.
Thank you very much. And next week we will be back to talk a lot more nonsense.
Yes, we do. And I think next week we'll have a subject which we're a bit better prepared for.
Third is a charm.
Yeah, I mean, half of the fun of this is that you don't tell me what it is, so I can't come prepared. But I think we're gonna have a subject, and we're gonna unpack it. We're gonna really explore some interesting ideas, some interesting concepts. It's gonna blow their minds.
It's gonna blow them away.
Yeah, it's gonna change their lives for the better.
Cheers.
Cheers to dystopias.